Give me your picks. Give me your insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly, because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. That River sponsor. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Well, a very good day to one and all. Welcome along to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, RJ. Over the course of the next half an hour plus, we'll be talking our way through the European soccer tonight. We've got Bundesliga action, Serie A, Liga, La Liga, and there's second-tier football in England as well. We've got the Championship fixture covered for you. RJ's going to be talking soccer and NFL divisional round games because the playoffs are upon us this weekend. And Sean Calvert is going to be making a special guest appearance as well. We have Press Gang Sean into a Friday afternoon appearance in the middle of the show. And Sean is going to be marking your card when it comes to the latest in the Australian Open and the men's singles. First of all, though, Ryan, RJ, how are you? And I know it's, what are we here? The 17th of January, but Happy New Year to you. Did you have a good Christmas? It's a long time since we've been on together. They're keeping us apart for some reason.
Yeah, no, Dan, when I saw this on the calendar, I said I marked it down because it's been a bit since we've been on a show together. It's great to be back on with you. Happy New Year to you as well. I did have a good New Year. It was nice and relaxing. Had some time off, but it's been pretty rapid since the beginning of the year, right? Life in general has been very busy and very hectic, but it's a great time of year though for sporting events, especially here in the United States with the NFL divisional playoffs this weekend. Really excited about it, and yeah, good to be here with you, and I get to see Sean as well for the first time, so it's a first for a couple things here today.
Look, it's win-win, and we hope that we supply some winners for you. Lots of you on the comments already. This is from Leslie Mack, says, oh, no, hang on. Ray Burke says, hi, Dan, Ryan and Sean. Fancy Burnley draw, no bet. I've got a selection from Jack Wright on the Burnley game. I lean on the experts when it comes to divisions that I'm not particularly familiar with. Duncan says, afternoon, guys. Paul, good morning to everyone. Brad's Nigel. Djokovic made you look silly. Nigel's not on the show, Brad. And you look silly. Let's hope Lahachka can restore some dignity. Sean's on tennis duty later, Brad's. Chris says, Chiefs, Lions, Buckeyes, parlay. RJ is going to be looking at the NFL for us. Paul says, great call by Lewis yesterday. It was an absolutely fantastic call, wasn't it? No Man United goals in the first half, plus 155. A brilliant selection and really well analysed from Lewis. So well done if you followed him in. And Trez says, good morning, guys. Speaking of sport, as Ryan was, we have got an awful lot of streams here. If you're a Bet Rivers account holder, if you've got the app, an awful lot of sport coming away. Friday streams, Burnley versus Sunderland in the Championship. That's going to be shown live. Likewise, Espanyol, Valladolid in La Liga. There's some La Liga 2 fixtures as well for you. Both of the Liga games are streamed as well. Montpellier against Monaco, Lille against Nice. I've asked James Easton for a play in the Lille-Nice game, so we well covered there. Samp against Cesena in Serie B, plus 5 Ligue 1 matches. And RJ being RJ, when I said, what do you fancy tonight? Just give us a sneak peek. He says, well, I'll talk about the Dortmund game. I've got a little bit in for you there, but also I fancy something in Ligue 1, which is, even for you, RJ, Ligue 1 is quite a high-profile league for you. You usually go a little bit lower than that, don't you?
I do. I try to find the diamonds in the rough in the Mexican third divisions. If there's money to be made, I'll try to dig it out. Yeah,
brilliant. Also, some second-tier Dutch games and the World Series of Darts, the Bahrain Darts Masters, also streamed. Obviously, Australian Open is massive at the moment, and there's been some chunky bets from Bet Rivers customers, winners and losers, and a $15,000 play on Ugo Humbert. On the money line at minus 223, which was a winner. Also a $10,000 play on Belinda Bencic, 0.7 set 1 against Naomi Osaka. Bencic with an ace, a $10,000 play as well, which was a loss. Djokovic minus 2.5 set handicap, plus 160, which was a win against Thomas Machach earlier today. 10 large on Djokovic, who was very, very good. We'll speak to Sean about Joker a little bit later on. Also, a $9,000 play on Coco Gauff on the money line, which was a winner against Leila Fernandez. That was a short price. And Djokovic on the money line at -400, a $9,000 play against Makac as well. So that's where the money's been going. Give us your thoughts on the comments. This is from Harry Holt, says Frankfurt Dortmund over 3.5. The real Brendan King says, nice to see RJ back. Yes, it is. Ming says, Dan, the XG King, how are you both? Trez, I'm looking to fade Tien and Navarro today. We'll get to Sean shortly. Ming says Frankfurt will beat Dortmund today, even without Marmoush. That's an interesting one. Dortmund defense is a disgrace. And RJ, Marmoush is in. That is the line here, RJ. You're suggesting here that he's going to play. I mean, apparently he's going to join Manchester City. We're not quite sure when, if it's going to be at the end of the transfer window. I mean, he's had a fantastic season. And I think from a Dortmund point of view, we'll put the prices up here. I mean, that's a massive plus for them. They're away at Frankfurt. They've been wobbling recently, won their last 2. Frankfurt are favourites in this fixture for the first time in a long time. But we think Marmoush potentially might play. We don't know until the teams come out. Though, what is the word there? Do you know? And how do you assess this Eintracht Frankfurt Borussia Dortmund game?
Yeah, this match, Dan, was intriguing. I locked in earlier this week. You look at the lines here on Bet Rivers. Eintracht are slight favorites on the money line. Eintracht Frankfurt, as of this morning, we heard last night in particular, though, that Marmoush and Manchester City and Eintracht agreed in terms over verbal terms to transfer Marmoush, but Eintracht coach Dino Topolmeier. Dino Topmoller has committed and expects Marmoush to be in the lineup today. It's in his plans to be on the pitch. I think he's a co-leading scorer in the Bundesliga. But listen, Dan, plain and simple, Frankfurt have been quite impressive, at home. 1-0 away win against St. Pauli and a 4-0 home win against Freiburg. Marmoush is their guy, right? If he was not on the field, I would be a little bit concerned, right? But he's been very strong, and the reason why they're very high up on the table, right? And Dortmund, right? If you're a Bundesliga bettor, right? Historically, you see Dortmund, they're the force, they're the side that you typically would not want to oppose. But in this match, I like the Frankfurt minus 0.25 on the Asian handicapping line. I think they basically will come out of here with a win. Dortmund, as I think Ming stated in the chat, the defense has been a disgrace. They've allowed 7 goals in their last 2 matches. 3-2 loss against Leverkusen, a 4-2 loss against relegation-bound potential Holstein Kiel. And honestly, it's putting pressure on the coaching staff. It's putting pressure on the players. You look at the injury front. Amenda is a long-term injury for Frankfurt with an ankle injury. But you have a relatively healthy squad there. And then you look on the Dortmund side, also relatively healthy, Dan. But you've had some rotation. I think Emir Khan has been lined up on defense. He's been in midfield. He's kind of been all over the place. They're just kind of toying with their lineups to try to get some kind of structure, some consistency. And I think it's a tough time for them to head to Eintracht for a very good side here that's picked up form since the end of 2024, right? I think they lost 3 straight. They've started off the new year with 2 wins, and I expect them to secure some points here. So I like Eintracht minus 0.25 on the Asian handicapping line. I do like the look of goals here as well. Over 3. And Dan, I don't know if we have those lines or Troy can pull those up, but we have over 3. I think it's around minus 120, minus 125 on Bet Rivers. That's a good look, in my opinion. Both teams to score is likely, but I expect Eintracht to come out on top here in this match.
Yeah, Mamouche playing for Eintracht Frankfurt, if that's right, and I've no reason to think it isn't because the deal isn't done yet. So if he suits up 15 in 17 this season, as RJ was pointing out, and that over 3 line, obviously, if there is 3, you'll get a push for it as well. It's not the worst play. Dortmund have really struggled, as you've mentioned. Jamie Gittins has scored in his last 2. He's plus 440 for any time goal scorer, incidentally. Dortmund as well play Bologna next week in the Champions League, which could be a little bit of a factor for them. I must admit, I scribbled down as well. Over 3 on the Asian line here. RJ's minus 105. And generally, you've cashed with both of these two sides recently. Full cash Dortmund games last 3 and 8 of the last 9 Eintracht Frankfurt games. You haven't lost either a cash or a push. And the last 3 at home for Frankfurt, you've got the full money. So we're looking at goals and potentially, as you mentioned, Eintracht Frankfurt on the Asian line. Just to let everyone know where the money has been going for this one ahead of it. 54% of the money, 65% of the tickets have gone on Dortmund. 92% of the money, 88% of the tickets have gone on the over. And we get these undershots bets from, I don't know which particular customer of Bet Rivers it is, but they're always very short prices, and they're always for decent sums of money. So nearly 4-figure players on Julian Duranville under 2.5 shots, and likewise under half a shot at minus 233 and minus 118. Someone's obviously doing some stats on these. Let's see what the public like here. Troy's been on, says Frankfurt, Dortmund both score. Yes, he's minus 215, so it is short. Over 3 minus 107. I think we like that one. Marshy says Frankfurt team total plus 1.5. That's not the worst, I think, from Marshy. That's a fair shout on that Dortmund game. Let's just get back to the prices as we move on to the Serie A fixture tonight. It's Roma versus Genoa. Roma are 4th in the 6-match form table, as I noticed. Only the top 3 in the table have won more points in the last 6 games. But they're pretty short here, minus 230 to beat a Genoa side who have only lost 1 since Patrick Vieira took over, and that was against top of the table Napoli. Difficult match for me to get too excited about, I must admit, with Roma very short in the market. I tend to think there might not be that many goals in this game. Any sort of angles for you in Roma-Genoa?
Yeah, this is a tough one, Dan. I mean, you look at the Asian handicap in line. Roma's minus 129, minus 129 right now on the Asian handicapping line. I mean, if I had a lean, it would be that, but I'm not excited about it, right? If I've been monitoring the line movement all week, it's been steady, right? Money coming in, kind of keeping the line around where it is. There hasn't been any real movement from a goal perspective. It's been steady around minus 1. You know, Roma unbeaten in the last 4. They had a 2-2 draw against Bologna in their previous match. Genoa secured a 1-0 victory over, I believe it was Parma, right? Yeah, Parma last week. So they got a little bit of momentum, but both these sides are relatively stingy, if you will. In head-to-head, if this is something that interests you, Roma is unbeaten in the last 21 home matches against Genoa dating back to 1990, right? So that's an interesting metric or stat there. The one thing that is lacking or unfavorable for Genoa is the injuries, right? They are very dinged up right now. They have a good 6 or 7 key players that are out. And honestly, I think, with Dybala, Dovbyk, they're just a stronger side. They're at home. I could see a 1-0, maybe 2-0 type win for Roma. But, I would say minus 1 would be my lean here for AS Roma at best. But at minus 129, I don't think you're getting great value. If this was minus 0.75, I would definitely consider this as an actual play. But, that would be my lean. And I see a comment in here about Marmouche. Again, I read late last night, early morning, that according to head coach for Eintracht, that he stated it's in his plans to leverage Marmouche as he would be, especially in this match today.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting. Look, the team news will be out later. It may well swing the market if you're on,
Oh yeah.
the Eintracht Frankfurt Twitter feed and you see it drop first and Marmoushi's playing, then you get on. It's up to you if you leave it like that. I agree with that. I think Roma will win it. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in that. Incidentally, we have got a house special in this one as well. Bet Rivers special. Artem Dovbyk to score in the first half against Genoa, plus 275. Just beginning to find his feet a little bit. 30 million from Girona in the summer. He's got 4 in his last 5. 9 goals in all competitions this season for Roma. 6 of them have been in the first half. So there might be a little bit of value in that one. Most of the money on Roma, most of the money on unders as well in that game. We've had a $500 play on Paulo Dybala under 1.5 shots on target at minus 159. And someone likes undercards. Roma under 1.5 total cards at plus 100. Quick look at the Spanish game for you. We are going to talk tennis with Sean very shortly indeed. He's standing by to rattle through all of the men's third round matches that take place. We'll get his thoughts on the futures as well. Just briefly on the Spanish game that we've got coming up tonight. It's Espanyol against Valladolid. It's a real relegation battle here. It's 18th versus 19th in La Liga. Espanyol without a win in their last 6. They've drawn 3 of the last 4. Valladolid in their last half a dozen. 3 wins, 3 defeats, but they were knocked out of the Copa del Rey by a third-tier side. Now, both of these two teams don't score a lot of goals, with Valladolid scoring just 13 this season, and Espanyol have scored only 17. So there's not a lot of goals generally, but will they both see it as an opportunity? If you look at their expected goals recently, both have had a very slight uptick, and in their last games, both registered more expected goals than all other games this season, bar one. So there's just been a little bit more fight in these two. If you want to play over 2.25 at plus 102, I don't think it's the worst play, incidentally. And we've got a house special in this one as well. Walid Chadera, who's at Espanyol on loan from Napoli, or Javier Puado, who's also an Espanyol striker, to score the first goal in that game. Combined, will lay you plus 150. And the latter, Puado, who's scored 2 in his last 3 games against Valladolid. So that's a Spanish game for you. Now, as we usually do with situations like this, we lean on our friends, we lean on the experts. So when it comes to the French football, I asked Stephen James for some thoughts on the action tonight in Ligue 1. Steve said he didn't fancy anything. Thanks, Steve. Much appreciated. But James, however, James told me that Lille are very much one to oppose. So this is from James Easton, who's been absolutely flying, of course, on the European show, which will be dropping anytime now or within the next few hours. Head back to the YouTube channel for that one. He reckons that Lille, with a big Champions League game coming up against who did they play next week? They play in the Champions. Is it Aston Villa they play? Is that Monaco they play? But regardless, they're away in the Champions League next week. And he says that Nice are the one to be on. Lille are 20 unbeaten, incidentally, but they have drawn their last 3 in 90 minutes. And he reckons that Nice on the draw no bet line. Nice on the Nice or tie line at minus 143. Or the tie no bet at plus 165 is the way that you should play it. And interestingly, most of the money has come on Nice away at Lille so far today. What do our Bet Rivers and our Betting Weekly crew suggest here? Ginepi says Lille go to Anfield on Tuesday. Thanks, Ginepi, for helping me out with that one. What else have we got? Wilfred Onsonko says Dortmund over 2.5, Galatasaray win, Volendam win, and Lille over 1.5 is his particular picks for tonight's football. When it comes to that Lille Nice game, most of the money on Nice, as we mentioned, most of the money on overs, and we've had a $200 play on over 5.5 total goals at 16-1. Good luck with that one. And finally, on the football, before we speak to Sean on the tennis, we have got championship action tonight. And Jack has weighed in with a play for me here. It's Burnley against Sunderland. Burnley can go top if they win. They're plus 105 against Sunderland, plus 250, who are 4th in the second tier in England. The tie's plus 195. And Jack has said to me that Josh Brownhill is the player to follow. 46 shots in 2,171 minutes of football this season in the Championship. That's a shot every 47 minutes. He's had 2 or more in 7 of his last 8, over 1.5 shots. Just shots, not shots on target, is minus 129 with Bet Rivers. So that's a shots play on Josh Brownhill, the Burnley striker who's got 9 this season against Sunderland. Most of the money on Burnley, and on the over and under line, most of the money has come on the unders. Burnley very much an unders team, but that's reflected, as you can see there in the market. We have the line at 1.5 over and under, and we've had a $600 play on the draw at plus 215. Just before we move off from the football, we did talk French football. We did mention, RJ, that we've got Ligue 2 streaming on the Bet Rivers app. You've got a Ligue 2 play that you just want to pass to our viewers and listeners.
I do. This kind of just came on the radar a little bit this morning. So France League 2 or Ligue 2, as you say, Dan. Some of the Ligue 2, some of the pronunciation. You're very keen on that. But I was looking at Ajjacio versus Caen. This line right now on Bet Rivers. So draw no bet is minus 148. It was around minus 120 about half hour ago, so the line has moved a bit. So this is both two very weak sides in Ligue 2. They're both facing relegation. Quite simply, the home side, Ajjacio, have home field advantage, and to be quite truthful, I've been looking at where the money's been going, and there was a sharp dip. There was a sharp dip in the odds, and there was a sharp increase in the limit, and this kind of drove the line down a little bit. So I'm kind of following the movement from that perspective, right? There's a couple different angles I hit in some of these lower matches. To be quite truthful, I don't know some of the injuries, some of the illnesses that may be going on in the team, some of the underlying factors. So in some of these lower leagues, I'm really relying on some of that sharp money coming in and some of those sharp dips. And I see an opportunity here for this home side. If you can get draw no bet or 0.0 on the Asian handicapping, anything minus 145, minus 140, I would consider it here in this game.
Good stuff. Right, we're going to talk tennis next. Sean's going to be with us. We're going to be rattling through some third round ties of the Australian Open. We're going to be back in 30 seconds or so. Welcome back, Sean. How are you? Talking tennis, obviously, in the Australian Open. First of all, how has the selections, the betting gone so far in the action at Melbourne? Hello to you.
You all right? How you doing? I've seen you for a bit.
Yeah, good, Sean.
Good. It's gone all right. I think 4 of the last 5 selections have won, actually. So on a decent run at the minute. We have had some pretty shocking look on outrights. Which I mentioned on the show. I think I've had 5 outrights so far this season derailed by injury or illness. 5 in the first 3 weeks of the season. You wouldn't expect that for an entire season. It's been a strange few weeks on men's tennis, possibly women's as well, from what I hear. Loads of injuries, loads of sicknesses. As I've said many times, it's a weird time to have a major. 3 weeks into the season when most of the players haven't even played. Their first tournament is a major, one of the 4 biggest tournaments of the year. It's utterly bizarre, but it's always been the same at Melbourne. Yeah. So we know what we're dealing with.
So when we look at the outright prices for the men's singles as it stands at the moment here, I mean, if anyone wanted a futures play now, is there a steer there? Do you think Sinner plus 115, the favourite, Alcaraz plus 250? Djokovic was impressive earlier, 7-1, Zverev 7s. If you had a free $50 play, Sean, where would he go?
Probably Sinner, to be honest. I said at the start of the tournament, Sinner is the most likely winner, and that still remains the case. Because Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Zverev, only one of those 3 can make the final. They're all in the same half of the draw, the bottom half of the draw. If Sinner plays his best tennis, he's highly likely to win. I think that's the bottom line.
Let's take a look at the matches that are coming up over the course of the next 24 hours, I presume here, Sean. We're going to look at the top half of the draw and round 3 games here.
These are overnight tonight UK time, yeah.
Yeah, and you can talk us through which ones you like, which ones you're dismissing here. So everybody tuning in, it's a bit of a a bonus to get Sean on the live show, especially when we've got tennis action a little bit later on tonight. So I'll route through the matches, Sean. You can tell us if you've got any plays or any advice in them. Shelton Musetti, we're listing first of all there. Shelton minus 167 on the money line. Any angle in on that one?
Yeah, look, this is a bad price on Ben Shelton. I think the money's come for him because the weather's heating up in Melbourne. It's been quite cool by Melbourne standards until now. But the next 4 days in centigrade, it's going to be 29, 33, 29 and 28, which is the 4 hottest days by far of the tournament so far. I think that's the reason bettors are coming for Shelton, but I think it's a bad play, certainly a bad price now. On the matchup and on recent form against the best players in the world, Musetti, for me, should be favourite. Musetti's beaten Shelton both times they've met, and convincingly on the service points won and return points won totals of those 2 matches. He's ahead by 110 to 90, which is a huge amount. And both matches were played in pretty quick conditions. Miami on a hard court and Queen's Club on grass. Musetti's held serve 93% of the time, and Shelton's only managed to win 26% of return points. Musetti's also far better on second serve, 66% compared to 48%. Musetti's also got a much better record recently against fellow top 20 ranked opponents, winning 53% in the last 12 months compared to just 25% for Shelton. So in addition to that, Musetti just played a left-hander. Shelton is a big serving left-hander, if people don't know. Musetti played a similar type of player in the previous round against Shapovalov, and he beat him 3-0. So for me, value on Musetti here, the bet I would advise is Musetti on the handicap plus 2.5 games, which I believe is minus 112 with Bet Rivers 1.89.
Okay, that's nice. That's Musetti. What about Kecmanovic against Holger Rune? Any value there? Holger Rune minus 220?
Yeah, on Kecmanovic, I think here. Again, they've met a couple of times, both on indoor hard. 1-1 is the score, but the Serbian, Kecmanovic, had much the better of things on the data. He's 104 to 96 ahead in the service points won and return points won totals of those 2 meetings. Should have won the Basel clash that he lost. He was a set and a break up. Kecmanovic ended up losing it. There's nothing in it at main level and outdoor hard in the last 12 months in terms of stats. Rune's just a half point better on 100.7. Kecmanovic 100.2. So there's nothing in these stats that make me think Rune should be minus 220. Definitely not. Kecmanovic plays well here at the Australian Open. He's had some very good performances here. Beat Hubert Hurkacz, in fact, in the last round in straight sets. So he's coming in here, a lot of confidence. He does tend to lose a lot of matches that he should win, Kecmanovic. So the safe play here, or the best play for me here, is Kecmanovic plus 1.5 sets, minus 114 Bet Rivers.
Cerundolo against de Minaur. De Minaur, obviously fans' favourite. I would have thought he'll have the bulk of the support, and he's straight setted the first couple of rounds here, but he's very, very short. Is there any sort of other angle potentially in the Cerundolo-de Minaur clash, or one you'd rather pass over?
I think if you're looking for a hot dog pick, if you want to call it that, it could be Cerundolo.
Gets in there. Don't mind a hot dog on the tennis.
If he's in the mood, he is very moody. If he's in the mood, his top level is very, very high. He's won 50% of his matches in the last 12 months against top 20 ranked opponents and lost in a final set tiebreak in 3 others. He's beaten Zverev, Tommy Paul a couple of times, Rublev a couple of times, Musetti a couple of times, Jack Draper, Casper Ruud. He's beat all those guys in the last 12 months. He's played 6 career matches at majors versus top 20 opponents. He's won 2 and taken at least a set in all of the others. And he's actually got the same service points won and return points won total of 98 as de Minaur has over the last 12 months against the current top 20. So for me, this is a very, very short price on Alex de Minaur. You sometimes don't get a performance from Cerundolo if he feels overawed or he's feeling, something. He is quite moody. But if he's playing his best tennis, that is a very, very short price on de Minaur. So I think the interesting way to play this is probably over 32.5 games, plus 102 Bet Rivers, or take a punt on Cerundolo. I think he could be, if he's in the mood, it could be interesting.
I love that. Are you listening, everybody? Cerundolo, get with him somehow, plus 650, maybe on the handicap line, the overs on the totals. Finally, on this page, Sean Mickelson, Kecmanovic here, a little bit tighter when it comes to the money line there, plus 143, minus 180, respectively.
Yeah, this one looks priced about right to me. I can't see any value in either of those. Maybe if you must play that match, maybe go the overs because they're both big serving, big hitting types. You would expect a long match between those two.
One or two comments before we get to the second slate of matches. We know that you've got to shoot off very shortly. Dean says, I've got Fritz at 4-1 for quarter two. I think he's looking good. Does Sean think Monfils could be a threat tonight? We're going to get to that game in a second, but can Monfils, he's a big price, isn't he? And about 5-1 to beat Fritz, Sean.
Yeah, I think if you're holding a Fritz ticket, I think you're doing all right because Monfils has played a lot of tennis already this season. He won the title in Auckland. He's already obviously played a couple of matches here. I think he's 39 years of age now, Gael Monfils. So you would expect Fritz to win that. The fatigue factor, I think, is a big plus for Taylor Fritz. I think Monfils has played a lot of tennis, and it might show if it gets to a sort of a four-setter. I think you might start to see Monfils' legs going a little bit.
Pedro says Musetti plus 1.5 sets. Yeah, we talked about that, and Dean also following that one up with his. So Adam Thompson says Rune 3-2. Kecmanovic bottle is questionable.
Is that's why I went plus 1.5 sets. That is fair. Yeah, he does lose a lot of tight matches that he should win because his stats are good. I can't argue with that. His bottle is questionable. That's why I went plus 1.5 sets.
Right, let's rattle through the rest of the games here on the tennis. Where are we? Can we get the rest of the matches up for you here? Fritz against Monfils. I'll get the graphic in a second. Sean, what do we think about Fritz against Monfils? You mentioned Monfils plus 510, Fritz minus 715. Any sort of angle?
Probably the overs. The over 36.5 would interest me there because Monfils is a very, very good returner of serve. We know Fritz is strong on serve. 90% holds a serve, Taylor Fritz, on hard court, outdoor hard this last 12 months. Monfils also pretty good. 85% holds for him as well. Very good return game. It's all about the fatigue, how Monfils is feeling physically. If he's feeling all right physically, I'd potentially go for over 36.5 games. But I think it's a match at this stage of their careers, in this situation, Fritz should win, really.
Fritz should win. Just trying to get some graphics up for you. For that particular round of matches. We'll just continue on with the other ones. What else we got here? We have got Leonard Tien, who 1 or 2 backed on Nigel's advance. What about Tien to go in again, Sean?
I think it's a tall order, isn't it? I watched a lot of that Tien match against Medvedev. The reason I didn't fancy Tien against Medvedev is because of the sheer number of long rallies that they play. They're both not got the greatest of power, or Medvedev doesn't seem to want to use his power these days. They both like to work the angles, work the court, awful lot of long rallies. I mean, Tien was nowhere in the betting after Medvedev came back to win the sort of fourth set. Everyone assumed Medvedev was just going to roll it in the fifth. He should have won, Medvedev, but how does Tien come back from that? And he's playing a very unpredictable character, isn't he, in Corentin Moutet? If you haven't seen Corentin Moutet play, just give him a watch. Something's always happening. It's normally him having some sort of issue with the umpire, with somebody, with himself, with the crowd, or whatever. I think it's a very difficult one to bet. I certainly wouldn't bet Tien at that price, given the late finish that he had against Medvedev. I'd be slightly tempted to back Moutet, but I don't trust him. He's a very combustible character.
Yeah, Tien minus 122, Moutet minus 103, maybe one less alone. A couple of other matches. We've got Sonogo against Malazan. Again, it's almost a pick 'em contest, minus 122 and plus 100. And obviously, Yannick's in a very, very short against Marcus Giron. Anything in those other matches for the third round tonight, Sean?
Not for me. I mean, Sonego's not a guy that I would back as favourite in too many situations. He's a very unpredictable guy, very, very in and out. He can look lights out one day, awful the next. But on the other side of the coin, Marijan's coming off back-to-back 5-setters. So that would kind of put me off him as well, given that the temperature is set to get a lot hotter. That would probably put me off Marijan. I couldn't recommend a bet in that one. Okay. And the other one was Sinner, did you say?
Yeah, Sinner. I mean, he's minus $5,000 minus 5,000 on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, Giron's a very good player, but we backed him in the last round on this show. We got a bit lucky, to be honest, because he was 2 sets to 1 up. Then he got injured. He had a lower back problem. Echeverry, who he played, Thomas Martin Echeverry, got right back into it. Should have won Echeverry. He was 4-2 up in the fifth. Giron somehow managed to escape and get the win, but that back issue would certainly worry me after a tough 5-setter against Echeverry. You would expect Sinner to win. I wouldn't be surprised if Giron pushes him past the overs, but it's more of a lean really than a bet.
2 more questions, then we'll let you go. Adam Thompson says, thoughts on Alcaraz so far? Haven't managed to catch any of his matches. Who would you favour if Alcaraz and Djokovic met in the next round? He's on a Djokovic Q3 ticket at plus 225.
Yeah, I mean, Djokovic looked good today against my guy Mahak, who didn't put in a performance at all. He was really disappointing, Mahak. And Djokovic had the trainer out, didn't he, for some sort of ailment, a breathing problem. Alcaraz has been up and down, but it's his first match, first tournament of the year, like a lot of these players. And he has changed his game a little bit this year, Alcaraz, going for a slightly bigger serve. He's got a heavier racket. He's trying to get more power. If you're asking me to pick one, I would probably take Alcaraz at this moment in time, but it's a kind of a tentative suggestion.
And last one, what's your best bet when it comes to the action tonight? Our viewers and listeners see if they waited one play on those third round matches, where would you point them?
I would take Musetti either on the money line if you're brave, or on the handicap. Either of those two, I think, are very good options.
Great stuff. Sean, enjoy the tennis over the course of the weekend. Look forward to the next game, bet and match with yourself and Nigel. We'll be back live shortly with NFL and RJ. Welcome back. Many thanks to Sean. We're talking NFL. If you've got any picks, we usually have 1 or 2 from Shakespeare and 1 or 2 others when it comes to the comments. So if you've got anything NFL-wise, then let us know. Musetti is my takeaway from the chat with Sean. Had a bit of a graphics malfunction with a second slate. I couldn't get them up. Sack the graphics man, which is me today. RJ, let's talk NFL, shall we?
Yes.
Obviously, a huge weekend. Now, when it comes to the futures, the Super Bowl winner, this is how the market looks here. Detroit Lions are the favourites at plus 280, the Chiefs plus 350, Ravens plus 450, Eagles plus 450. The Bills 5-1. Then we get the Rams at 17, Commanders 33, and the Texans at 5,000. Have you got any futures tickets stashed away? Have you bet anything? Are you looking to cash on any of these teams?
I don't have much action from futures, Dan. I'm not much of a futures guy, although I am looking to get into that market a little bit more this year. I'll tell you what, if anything here would stick out to me, it'd be the Ravens plus 450. That would be something I would consider. If Washington, as Zachy put in the chat, I mean, will Washington have a performance? Can Jalen Daniels really make those plays? To be TBD, but Washington looks pretty strong right now. If they make it out of this round, that'd be one heck of a chance. Them at plus 3,300 right now. But I'll be looking at the Ravens here. And I'll probably explain a little bit more when I get into the detail about that matchup.
Plus 450. We're going to talk our way through the 4 games. Incidentally, Betting Weekly Studios, don't know who's on Betting Weekly Studios duty today. It says P45 on Monday for Roebuck. Now, our American viewers won't know what that means. But what it means is it means that a big pay rise is due. That's what the P means. It pay rise. So many thanks to our friends at Betting Weekly Studios, and we'll discuss that, I'm sure, on Monday. Whatever you do, American viewers, don't Google what P45 means. Right, let's talk. Let's talk about these NFL playoff games. First up, and I'm going to run through where the money's been going as well here over the course of the build-up to the divisional playoffs. Here we got the Texans against the Chiefs. Now the Texans here on the money line are plus 360. The Chiefs minus 480. Most of the money has come on the Chiefs on the money line. Likewise on the spreads as well. On the over and unders there, 69% of the money, 63% of the tickets on overs. So basically it's Chiefs and overs and one big play, -8 on the Chiefs, $23,000 at minus 110. RJ, let's get your thoughts first of all. The Texans against the Chiefs here. Do the prices look right? Are there any angles in when it comes to this one?
Yeah, so Dan, the NFL in particular, right? I think it's very important for the viewers to be aware, right? Someone like myself, I try to find early value opportunities as soon as some of the lines come out. I try to lock in and see where I can find an edge. And in this matchup, right, the line opened, I think, at 44 points, and I was able to lock in at under 43. Right now, the line is 41.5. So it's moved 2.5 points since the opening. I think there's a good look at the under here. Now that it's dipped to 41.5, Vegas is good, right? I could see 42 potentially. I mean, I really like the look of a low scoring game in this matchup. You have the Chiefs very well rested, AFC's number 1 seed. Everyone should be in pretty good shape. I think right now, looking at the injury report, you got McCall Hardman, Jalen Watson, IR eligible to return in this matchup. And you look at the Texans. They have one of the most formidable pass rushes in the NFL. They lead the league in pass rush win rates. Right, they were very effective last week. I think they have a chance to do some damage here with the Chiefs. Now, I would never bet against the Chiefs here in this spot at home. Patrick Mahomes, it kind of reminds me, I'm a Patriots fan of when Tom Brady was in, right? You just almost can assume that they'll find a way to get it done. I think 8.5 points is, eight and a half points is a little bit. It's a tempter, right? But for me, my strong lean, my strong play here for that matter, like I said, I'm on under 43. I'd keep an eye on the movement, but if you get 42.5, 43, I would definitely consider the under, just because of the Texans' strong defensive play, and I think they'll do a good amount against this Chiefs offense, who is very versatile. But I think they'll keep it somewhat close.
Texans against the Chiefs, maybe that minus that plus 8.5 go on the side on that. Yeah, it could be closer than we think. Commanders against the Lions next for you here on the money line. 87% of the money, 81% the tickets of the Lions. Likewise on the spread, not quite as big a percentage, but 74% the money, 54% the tickets. And again, bettors are looking to go overs here. We've had a $15,000 play on the Lions to win the NFC Championship at plus 150. Also, the Lions minus 8.5 on the spread, an $8,000 play at minus 115. And we did have got holding a $1,000 play on the Commanders to win the Super Bowl at 66-1. So that'll be nice for someone if it comes in. As you can see here, Commanders 4-2 as underdogs. And they were plus 10. Great play. But Troy says he's a lifelong Washington fan. So pay heed. He's betting with his heart rather than his head here, potentially. Yep. Give us your thoughts on this one here. This is the Commanders against the Lions. RJ.
Yeah, this one is a tough one in my opinion. I don't have any action per se, and one thing I will mention is a big loss here for the Lions. Guard Kevin Zeitler has been ruled out for them in this matchup. You look at the Washington side, relatively healthy. You got Dyami Brown, right? A strong performance in the wild card for the Washington Commanders. You got Dan Quinn versus Dan Campbell, defensive expert versus Dan Campbell, who everyone's kind of come to like, right? He's the guy that turned this franchise around. I just think at the end of the day, Detroit just has too many weapons at home. I think this has the potential to be a high scoring game. 55 points is a lot in the playoffs. I mean, you look at some of the totals for Detroit all year, they've been in the 50s. And they've exceeded for the most part 60, 70 points in one match. But, Commanders are going to be riding high. I know Troy's going to be rooting for them here as well. I would say, here's my honest take, and I don't have more of a play. This is more of a lean. I think if there will be an upset in this divisional round, it could be the Commanders. That's my hot take. Something about the Lions, I'm not as convinced as obviously like a Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, right? Something about the Lions I could see could just go south. And like I said, they have a very big loss with their Kevin Zeitler guard. He's a stronghold for them on that line. So that could be impactful for this. How can Jared Goff scramble? He's not much of a scrambling quarterback, and that could be impactful. So I think the Commanders could make some noise. And I think if I were to lean and I had a free $50 bet, Dan, I would probably take the Commanders plus 9.5. I'd even try to maybe get plus 10 here by that half a point.
Yeah, the Bet River site's got all the various spreads, of course. The prices will change depending on what you're putting in. What about the Rams at the Eagles here? The Rams on the money line are plus 230. The Eagles are the favourites here. The spreads, as you can see, is -6 at -114 for the Eagles. When it comes to where the money's been going, most of the money on the Eagles, likewise on the spread as well. Interestingly, 56% of the money has gone on the under, but 57% of the tickets on over. So the public money is on over, but the shrewdies are on unders. And we have had a $13,000 play on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl at 14-1. They're a lot shorter in the betting now. Rams at the Eagles, RJ, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this one is also, I'm not overly confident on this match. I did have Philadelphia -4 last week, so I'm happy that I did go 3-1 on the side. So it was good, very profitable wild card weekend from a size perspective. You look at Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. The teams did meet in week 12. The Eagles won 37-20. Saquon Barkley, 302 yards from scrimmage, right? He'll be looking to replicate a performance like that. I think the Eagles defensively are the reason why they'll come out on top. Their offense is obviously very strong, but you look at the Rams, right? Puka Nacua has been their guy. Cooper Kupp was very quiet in the wild card round. He'll need to get a little bit more involved in the offense. The Eagles did have a notable injury. They placed Nakobe Dean on the injured reserve, so that reduces their depth at linebacker position. The Rams did designate Troy Reeder and Laurel Murchison to return from IR, so that kind of boosts them up on defense. This is a tough one. I don't really have much of a lean from an over-under perspective, but, I just think, the Eagles will come out on top. I could see them winning by 7 here. This is going to be close. I think the lines I think the line's pretty spot on for both the spread and the over-under, but I would lean Eagles here. I just don't think the Rams will be able to keep up long term in this match.
Lean with the Eagles, who give away that 6-point start to the Rams, and one last play, hopefully, or lean from RJ. Ravens at the Bills. We've got a private conversation here. What's that?
I have.
And Troy that's been going on. Obviously, a bit of a loving here when it comes to Washington. Trez McCurdy says, what's your prediction on the Ravens game here? Most of the money's gone on the Ravens, likewise on the spread. This is pretty tight as well, because you can see the money line is just the closest one according to the betting, RJ, -115 for the Ravens, the Bills -106. So it's all at 106. It's almost a pick and contest on the money line, and therefore the spread is pretty similar as well. We have had, Trez, a $9,000 play on the Ravens on the money line at -112. Most of the money has come for the Ravens. So if you want to follow the money, Trez McCurdy, then the Ravens should be your play. RJ, would you back that up, or are you going for the Bills here? What do you like in the final divisional playoff fixture?
I have this match circled, Dan, since last week. This is going to be a must-watch. This is going to be must-see TV. And I'll coin a phrase from one of our handicappers, Will White, right? Sometimes the best bets are the most uncomfortable ones.
Absolutely.
And for me personally, I say that because I'm rooting for Josh Allen. I'm a Patriots fan, but I really like this Bills team. I really am rooting for them. However, in this match, I am really, really behind and like the Ravens money line here. Ravens opened at +1. They're now -1. They and you look at the weather. The weather's big this time of year. Most of the matches are going to be played in the teens, 18, 20-degree weather. This isn't Buffalo. There was lake effect snow in the forecast. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but you look at the Ravens offense, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, you got that two-headed monster. How do you contain that? Derrick Henry in week 4, when they played the Bills, there was a 35-10 victory for the Ravens. The Ravens absolutely dominated this match. Lamar Jackson is 3-1 in games below 32 degrees. So that's an interesting stat. This match will be probably in the teens, 18, 15 degrees. Again, I like Josh Allen. I like this Bills team, but the Ravens are a better team with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers is probably out. That's a notable injury for them. But they'll be able to accommodate that with Mark Andrews and the like. They just, to me, Dan, this is going to be a very tight it's going to be a dogfight, but I don't think that the Bills defense will be able to contain and/or Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry from the rush perspective. It's going to open up the pass, and even at home with the Bills Mafia going nuts, I think the Ravens come through here, and I think this could be their year finally.
So Ravens may be the play. Obviously, there's the Super Bowl winner as well. If you had $50 free play on the Super Bowl winner, and indeed your best bet on the action this weekend, RJ, where would it go?
Ravens. For me, it's the Ravens. Yeah.
Let's go Ravens plus 450. And same again, obviously, when it comes to this weekend's action, you can bet them on the money line at minus 115. Just before we get the best soccer play from RJ for tonight, just to let you know, the most wagers on plays with Bet Rivers, largest percentage of weekend NFL money for you. The Chiefs on the money line, 14% of the take so far, and the Chiefs against the spread as well, giving that 8.5-point start away. Likewise, most popular plays by the number of tickets, it's the Chiefs on the money line, also the Lions on the money line. Likewise, the public plays with Bet Split, it's the Chiefs and the Lions on the money line that the vast majority of the public are going for. And in terms of bet splits, again, 85% of the money has come on the money line for the Chiefs and the Lions. So if you want to know where the cash has gone in the run-up to the divisional playoff weekend, we're talking Chiefs money line, Lions money line as well. I wish you well if you're playing when it comes to the divisional playoffs. Let's get back to the soccer. RJ, best play when it comes to the Friday night soccer. We've got European action. A lot of it you can watch on the Bet Rivers app and the Bet Rivers site. What would be your best bet tonight on the soccer?
Yeah, I'd have to go Eintracht. To be transparent, I did lock in early this week at draw no bet on the Asian handicap. It's minus 0.25 now, but I would take Eintracht minus 0.25, especially and notable to see Marmouche. I'd expect to see him in the lineup and be a full go and really make a statement on his way out of Eintracht as he's done so far this season.
Brilliant stuff. Nice one, RJ. And just let everyone know, Josh Brownhill for Jack. Look for over 1.5 shots at around about minus 120. Jack Wright gave me that pick on the Burnley Sunderland game. And James Eastham suggested that you should be betting Nice on either the draw no bet or on the double chance market, although the latter is pretty short at around about minus 140. That's your soccer plays for you tonight if you're just joining us late on the show. RJ, great to see you. We're going to wrap things up and hopefully you'll be on soon.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Dan. We'll hopefully we'll be on together soon, and hope you have a great weekend and best of luck to all the bettors. Hopefully we have a nice profitable weekend and enjoy.
Yeah, let's hope we cash some tickets. Many thanks to RJ. Many thanks to Sean as well. Musetti was his play either on the money line or on the minus 1.5 or plus 1.5 on the handicap. So watch out for that in the Australian Open tennis tonight. From all of us, though, for this Friday, that is your lot. We'll be back, of course, on Monday with the live show from 11 a.m. Eastern. And also, we've got the Premier League show and the European show for your perusal over the course of this weekend. We'll speak then.